State Representative Alan Seabaugh is here. Hey, Mr. Allen, how are you this morning?
I'm wonderful. How are y'all this morning?
Well, here's the deal.
When you headed to Baton Rouge?
The governor's special session begins on Monday. You've heard the phrase. You got one leg in the grave and one leg on the banana peel. 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot on the banana peel. Is this where this session is starting, or are you more optimistic?
Well, it depends on what you're asking me about optimistic for. I am not optimistic, to be honest with you, because I have been saying for years that we need to stop talking about putting our hand deeper in the pockets of the taxpayers of Louisiana, and we need to have a serious discussion about the state's spending problem. And every time you hear my colleague Gene Reynolds, the head of the Democrat caucus, whenever you hear them talking about a compromise, what they mean is Republicans doing what the governor wants. There is no compromise from the governor. There never has been since he got elected. So if you hear them talk about compromise or progress or a deal, what that means is get out your checkbook. There's going to be enough votes to make you pay more in taxes when it is absolutely unnecessary. This is the biggest budget Louisiana's ever had. We have more money than we have ever had as a state ever. And the governor says it's not enough. We do not have a fiscal crisis. We do not have a deficit. What we have is a governor who has a wish list bigger than the state of Louisiana can afford, and that's it.
Alan, you make an interesting point that compromise means giving the governor what he wants, and yet, going back to previous sessions, in a Republican-dominated legislature, there has been compromise, i.e. the governor got what he wants, right?
Yeah, that's correct. The Senate is Republican. There's more Republicans than Democrats in the Senate, but the governor controls it lock, stock, and barrel. I mean, the Senate has never passed a single bill that the governor didn't support. They support everything. He controls the Senate completely. The only independent body is the House, and the governor actually said last week that the independent House was not working out very well. I frankly think it's working out very well. Otherwise, his hand would be so deep in the pockets of the taxpayers of Louisiana, more would be running for the borders.
He said he wasn't going to call y'all into special session unless he had some sort of agreement. Do you think he has that, or do you think this is a waste of time?
Well, somewhere in the middle. He does not have a deal. You got to keep in mind, when the governor says something, never, ever take it at face value, because he lies every time he opens his mouth. He promised for a year he would not call a special session if there wasn't a deal. I promise, as we sit here today, there is no deal. There's progress towards a deal. There's agreement on some principles, but there is no deal. So when he says, I won't call it unless there's a deal, he absolutely lied.
So
Just
right
as
now,
he did when he said, I will balance the budget without raising taxes as a candidate, he lied.
Right now, right now, what's the compromise? What is the potential deal that you see?
Well, there's a couple of things. I mean, the governor's trying for income tax increases. I mean, he shot across the board, included just about everything except the gas tax. The compromise potentially that's being discussed right now is, the 1 penny sales tax goes away. They're talking about reinstituting a half penny, which would be $440 million, with half of that, $220 million, dedicated to funding TOPS. Democrats don't like the idea of passing a sales tax, but I think that's where the fight is, getting Democrats to pass it. Republicans don't like it, but they do like protecting TOPS. So it's one of those things that's a mixed bag. I think it's the only substantive measure that has a chance to pass. It is going to take 70 votes, and it's going to be a fight because you don't have solid support among Democrats for it, and you don't have solid support among Republicans. Question is, can you get to 2/3?
But our sales tax in Louisiana among the highest in the nation, and this was going to be temporary.
That's absolutely correct. And we're not among the highest. I think we are the highest. There would be a net reduction of half penny. The governor would probably take credit for that. But the bottom line is the penny goes away if we do nothing. So Robert Adley came on your show and said the governor's going to repeal it. That also is a lie. He can't repeal it. It's going away. It had a 27-month shelf life. It's run its course. It's going away at the end of June. This is a tax increase no matter how you slice or dice it.
With the general fund budget at $9.4 billion or wherever it's going to be.
Highest it's ever been.
You said highest it's ever been. I asked Dodie Horton this. I'll ask you. Does he think you guys are morons? How can we continue to grow this budget with people leaving the state, with fewer people paying taxes? I don't understand where all this growth is coming from and how we justify it.
Well, you've got to keep in mind where he's coming from. He is an absolute big government, left-wing liberal, and in his mind, big government is a good thing. So what he's trying to do is tax businesses and tax people, because anybody who makes a profit, anybody who has a dollar in their pocket is somehow evil and did it at the expense of government. That's where he's coming from. And that is fundamentally wrong. If you look across the country, the states that are doing his ideas, people are leaving them in droves, including Louisiana. We're the only southern state losing population. It's because we're the only southern state with a left-wing liberal Democrat governor who tries to tax us into prosperity, and that's just absolutely never happened, and it's absurd. And so the problem is he believes that you can't have a government that is too big. Government can't have enough money. And the bottom, from my perspective, I will never vote for a penny of tax on anybody until somebody can convince me that government needs that penny more than the person who earned it does. And it's right now it's in the pocket of the business or the person who earned it. And what he's asking us to do is pull that penny away from the people who earned it and give it to government because government really needs it. And I think that's hogwash.